Things for the Rebel strike team seemed to be going as planned. The shield bunker that protected the Death Star 2 was in sight, and the Imperials inside didn't even put up a fight. All that was left to do was arm the charges and send this installation sky high, leaving the Rebel fleet with an open door to destroy the space station looming above. It became clear, however, that their luck was running out. An entire squad of Imperials soon charged inside the base, and now General Solo and his strike team were the ones surrendering without a fight. All this happened just as the Rebel fleet arrived. It didn't take long for everyone to realize the terrible, horrible truth. It's a trap. A battle in space erupted with a dizzying amount of TIE fighters flooding their viewports. It was almost too much for even the veteran pilots to comprehend, yet they held out hope that Solo's strike team on the surface would pull out the victory necessary so their true assault could begin. The only issue there was the surface of Endor was in no way under control. Once they were escorted outside the base, the amount of Imperials waiting for them even made Chewbacca wince with fear. Solo couldn't help but think that this was it. Did the rebellion finally run out of hope? Just when things seemed as if they couldn't get worse, C-3PO called out to the Imperials gathered around the shield bunker. That droid's an idiot, Solo thought to himself as stormtroopers rushed over to where the protocol droid was shouting from. Solo then turned back to Leia, just hoping that she had some idea of what to do, but even she had a defeated demeanor about her. I guess this is it then. Just as Solo seemed ready to admit defeat, the battle cries of Ewoks rang out, and not long after did they hear the pain-filled screams of stormtroopers. Ewoks perched among the trees, then sounded their horns, a signal to emerge from the greenery of Endor and assist their new rebel friends. Arrows began flying through the air, striking Imperials with a precision that was almost terrifying. Chaos soon broke out as the rebels held captive seized the opportunity to regain their weapons and join in on the fighting. Inferno Squad heard the blast of fire and knew that this was the time to make themselves known. "Let's get moving," shouted Commander Versio. With her TL-50 heavy repeater firmly in her hands, she rushed forward, Del Meeko and Gideon Hass moving quickly to close the gap between them all. When they emerged, the chaos created from the Ewoks inserting themselves in the Imperial business had only deepened. "What the hell are those things?" Meeko wondered as he saw a quartet of them using the most primitive of methods to destroy an AT-ST. "Whatever they are, they just made themselves enemies of the Empire, so kill them!" Iden commanded as they opened fire on Ewoks and rebels alike. "For the Emperor!" Hass exclaimed proudly as his blaster fire made contact with every individual he targeted. The battle was certainly immense, much more than expected if Iden was to be honest with herself. If this was meant to be a trap, then a battle this big shouldn't even be occurring. If this was meant to be a trap, then every rebel would already be dead. Could this indicate a fault in the Emperor's plan? Absolutely not. This just means they'll have to adapt and end this useless war once and for all. "We need to get inside the bunker, let's go!" shouted General Solo as he and Leia Organa retreated back to the blast door just as it closed shut. As they hunkered down, the battle began to space out as Imperials began to give chase to Ewoks and any rebels that went with them. "They're just pathetic creatures, mow them down!" shouted an Imperial officer who was soon met with an arrow to the chest following his outburst. His body slumped down to Del Meeko, who had no time to make note of it, only iterating to Versio and Hask that the rebels at the shield bunker need to be taken care of. Inferno Squad still had quite a way to fight through before reaching that goal. While conflict became the default state all around, there was only one place that was calm for the moment, and shockingly, it was within the very reason that brought everyone here, the Death Star. Unlike the first station, the Emperor had a throne room constructed aboard, and he was present for all that transpired. He wasn't alone either. Standing across from him was the man who had been his apprentice for 26 years, Darth Vader. Vader had been a critical piece in the plan that allowed for him to become the Emperor of the Galactic Empire, and he is just as important in the current plan. Standing beside Vader is the son of Skywalker, the Jedi Knight Luke Skywalker. The Emperor instructs the young Jedi to step forward and peer into the final fate of his rebel friends. As Luke's eyes meet the center of the window, all he can see is so many of his friends dying, and he reaches through the Force for just a moment, hoping to still feel the presence of his sister. Though he found hope in the fact that Leia was still alive, Palpatine introduced the next phase of his dastardly plan. He revealed that the Death Star, despite its current appearance, was fully functional. If his words weren't enough to prove it, he soon ordered for the weapon to be fired at will. It didn't take long before the laser charged and fired upon rebel ships in the fleet. It was certainly frightening for those staring down the technological terror in space, yet it was a whole other level of fear for those down on the surface of Endor. Rebel soldiers could see the ominous structure and could faintly see the laser that emanated from it, though they had no idea what it fired upon. General Solo felt his heart sink because he promised to have that shield generator down before the fleet arrived. Every life lost was due to him, he felt. Commander Iden Versio stopped for a moment to observe the firing of the Death Star from the surface as well. She had a great deal of pride charged through her, as every Imperial did who witnessed this. It was, after all, the next stage of the trap. Fool the naive rebels into thinking the Death Star was nothing more than an incomplete outer shell, and then raise them down along with their worthless desire for hope. "Commander!" The call out from Gideon Hask snapped Iden back to the battle blazing before her as he continued. "The rebels have formed a series of defenses leading towards the shield generator. Solo and Organa have both been confirmed there." "Good," Iden thought as she motioned for the rest of Inferno Squad to push with her. Han Solo and later Organa are public enemies 1 and 2 now that Skywalker is in the clutches of the Empire following his surrender. She would like nothing more than Inferno Squad to be responsible for snuffing the life out of those two. Yet as they push, Iden couldn't help but notice something odd. An Imperial AT-ST marched alongside a pack of rebels, not firing, not attempting to crush them beneath its mechanical feet. She turned to Agent Meeko, who had just noticed the same anomaly. "Del, get in contact with the AT-ST. Find out what's going on now." Moments before Agent Meeko could, the AT-ST opened fire on them and any other Imperials they could find. "Commander, that walker has been compromised!" Agent Hask yelled as the trees around them began to spark ablaze for the AT-ST fire. Iden circled around, looking for an opportunity to escape the barrage, but she knew they had to deal with the walker immediately, or it was only going to cause more problems. Agent Hask, Iden called out, push up to the right flank and get the walker's attention, and try not to die. Aye, Commander, consider it done. Hask ran forward, firing his blaster towards the viewports of the ATST, hoping to nail whoever piloted the stolen vehicle and put an early end to the current plan. Yet even he found it hard to pull off such a feat, with its head turning and unleashing a barrage that nearly left him a pile of ash. As Hask continued, Iden gave Agent Miko his orders. Miko, there's a ridge to your west that should offer a clear shot of the walker. Get there and wait for our signal. Got it, Commander. I'm on the move. Agent Miko sprinted into position, readying his blaster against a branch as he got the walker in his sights. The only thing he wondered now was what that signal was going to be. Not before long, he spotted Commander Versio running alongside the walker as it continued firing shots at an elusive Agent Hask. He spied as Iden Versio launched a grenade into the viewport. He anticipated an explosion to rock the cockpit, yet instead, smoke billowed out of every possible opening. Right on cue, the hatch on top opened, and a roaring Wookiee emerged, assisting a couple of Ewoks exit before aiming a bowcaster at Iden below. Miko, now! Iden shouted as a blaster bolt ripped through the air, piercing the Wookiee in his chest. The beast let out another terrifying roar as he fought the pain of his new injury, but soon a second and third shot followed, and the Wookiee slumped over as all of Inferno squad gathered around the scene. Inform the battalion that this ATST is clear for use again, and to dispose of the body. Iden instructed Agent Miko what to do next as she turned to the sound of a battle erupting. Agent Hask heard the sounds as well. That's the shield generator. With all due respect, Commander, we need to get moving. Iden didn't need the passive-aggressive pep talk from Agent Hask to understand that. As soon as Miko returned from his small assignment, Inferno Squad rushed off to end this rebellion once and for all.